The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Folks, you won't believe this. You just won't believe this. After all these years that I've known Shady, I never thought he'd do this to me. I mean, I can't believe it. Here I am listening to an internet broadcast of one of my peers. Just tuned in randomly, just trying to give some support. And who do I hear? There's Shady on the radio, using his damn catchphrase on top of it. I was totally floored. Unbelievably floored. See, I had no idea he was moonlighting on other shows. I couldn't believe it. You know, I've been friends with him for, I don't know, God knows how long, actually. I have no idea, it's been so long. And he goes behind my back on another show. And the bastard uses his catchphrase on top of it. Like he can't come up with something new for this other show. No, he's got to use his catchphrase. So, Shady, just saying, if you're listening out there, you better call in and explain yourself, buddy. Just saying. I'm sure so infuriated right now. You know, it's hard to even want to do the show. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out to you on the open lines there, because I know there's people that jump right on right at the beginning of the show and they want to talk. So, you know what? I'm going to go out to you. Peppa, you're first. Say your piece.
Oh, honeys, I know how that goes. Baby daddy number 6 did that to me when he was sleeping around with my sister's best friend. But I got him back.
How'd you do that?
Oh, I married baby daddy 7, who was his daddy. That made me his daddy's mama.
Okay, thanks for your call. We're going out to Boris in Moscow.
Hello, first time caller.
Welcome to the show, Boris. Are you calling from Russia?
Don't be stupid. I call from Moscow, Michigan. I have questions.
All right, well, go ahead.
Could you recommend a good place to meet Russian women? I move here and I look everywhere for them. But there are no Russians here nowhere, just me. I'm so lonely.
Have you called the White House? According to the Democrats, they have operatives there.
I'm afraid I don't believe that.
Hey, even the news says it's true. Ask CNN.
Who are you going to believe? A Russian caller or the fake news?
That's a tough call. Is there a third option?
Only if you listen to Alex Jones.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Could I ask one more question, please?
Sure.
Are you going to see the new Black Widow movie?
I'm undecided. But apparently, it's got Robert Downey Jr. in it.
That's what I heard.
Now we have 2 dead characters
Look out.
in a movie that takes place before the events of Infinity War and Endgame.
Oh, spoilers.
Yeah, sorry. Just sounds like a money grab to me.
Maybe it's good movie.
It doesn't really matter. Mickey's going to make a lot of money either way.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for your call.
Goodbye.
Man, I hope Scarlett Johansson at least has that traditional red hair she had before Endgame, because that one in that movie was just horrid. Up next, we have Donald calling in from Washington, D.C.
They're running out of things to complain about, John.
And what are you referring to, sir?
My critics. First they tried to overturn the election.
I remember that.
Then they gave me a Russian probe without lubricant, mind you. It was a little tight, but all clean in the end.
That's what the report said.
Now they want to see my taxes, John. But I told them I only tweet. Just wish they'd leave me alone.
Okay, well, thanks for your call. Our next call comes in from Westland, Michigan. Des, you're up next.
I was a redhead once.
That's great. Thanks for your call. Batman, you're next on The John Lebang Show.
Hey, what's up?
Do you have a question?
No, not really. Just wanted to say, what's up?
Oh, okay. What's up?
Oh, nothing. Just taking a bubble bath and waiting for the bat phone to ring.
In the bathtub, calling the radio show? It's a quiet night, huh?
You could say that. It's good to get some me time in. Thought about playing with my batarang while I was in here, so I gave you a call.
Okay, well, thanks for your call.
Anytime.
Shady, I know you're listening, and you better call in and explain yourself, bud, really soon. Our next call comes from Abu. What's on your mind?
I want to sing a song in memory of Eddie Money.
All right, let's hear it.
He's got 2 tickets to paradise. Bring the virgins and leave tonight.
Okay, thanks for your call. Over to Cora in Tampa, listening in on IRN Radio.
This is Sonny. I'm not saying you suck at your job, but trust me, I've had stomach cramps that were better than you.
Okay, thanks for your opinion, Cora, and your call. Still waiting on Shady, but he doesn't seem to want to call the show. So we'll go back out to the phones until he does. Listening in on 920 WON The Apple in New York, we've got Mike. What say you?
Does anybody have a vibrator?
Not around here. Thanks for your call. Well, look who's calling in. The man of the hour himself, Shady.
All right, you got me out of the toilet, John. Now, what's your problem?
My problem is I turned on another show and there you were, rocking people's faces off.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't give me that. I heard you.
Maybe it was a cheap imitation. I do have a sexy voice.
It wasn't a cheap imitation, Shady.
Well, it wasn't me. I've been dealing with the constipation blues for 3 days now, and I barely left the toilet.
So you're saying it wasn't you?
That's what I said. Do you need to clean your ears out or something?
No, I don't. All right. It sure sounded like you, though.
Well, maybe they ripped it off. I'd file a lawsuit, but I'm about to go back in and try not to blow a blood vessel this time.
A blood vessel?
That's what happens when you push too hard, John.
That's TMI.
If it doesn't work this time, I'm calling Roto-Rooter and have them drill it out of me. Now, are we done here? Because I'm starting to clench up, and that's a bad thing when you're constipated.
Okay, thanks for calling in. Let that be a lesson, folks. Don't jump to conclusions thinking people are doing things behind your back. Most likely, it's someone else just ripping you off. Our next call comes in from Gooberfish.
Hey, man, I want to help the brother out. They called in before me. I got a remedy for that, brother. Get yourself a little, what they call it, that castor oil, man. Put it all over your middle finger, man. I mean, all over. Whole lots of it. Then what you got to do then, man, is give it a quick shove real fast.
Really?
And then move it around a little bit, back and forth, side to side. And if that don't work, at least you won't need an oil change.
Okay, thanks for your advice. We've got time for one more call. Bernie listening in on Digital Revolution Radio in Connecticut.
Screw you, Mr. President!
Very concise. Thanks for your call. Now that we got that cleared up, we've got a lot to talk about this hour. Thank you for joining me. I forgot to mention that early on. If you've noticed on the Banger Cam, I'm wearing my little cowboy hat and glasses this morning. See, the way the new shows are coming out, I don't always have the time to get a full-blown shower in before I come on the radio. So then what do? I put a hat on, and I put some glasses on, and I at least look halfway presentable. We got a different angle on the cam today. I just noticed that. We got something else going on over here, Wilbur, that we're changing things up?
I just put the camera in a different spot, John. No big deal.
Yeah, well, Wilbert's the only one here right now. Everybody else doesn't want to be part of the show, apparently. They want to call in, but they don't want to be part of the show. Since we only have a few minutes before we go to our first break, maybe I should talk about my garden a little bit. I don't know how your gardens have turned out this year. And feel free, if you're listening in and you're in the chat room, please post pictures of your garden in the chat room, because I'd like to see how your garden turned out. Mine didn't do so well. Not that I put the greatest effort into making it one awesome garden, but I planted it early, and we were a little wet, but I planted it early, and I thought I'd at least get a decent little crop this year, and I had my first real harvest. Usually I get about 2 or 3 pretty decent sized harvests, and then I have one in the beginning that's small and one at the end that's small, and those big ones are in the middle there. Well, I didn't have any big ones in the middle. I am pretty much down to one big harvest. There might be a very tiny one in about 4, 5, 6 days, maybe a week. But I was so surprised at how my garden just didn't turn out. And in fact, that my poor tomatoes look like they're losing all their leaves, and it just doesn't look right. Maybe I'll post some pictures. But this is like one of those years where I'm a little baffled at why my garden didn't do better. My peppers are like soggy. Like my jalapenos always turn out well. Those are some hardy plants, but the red peppers that I had, they were pimentos. I tried them out. All of them rotted on the plant before they turned red. And you know, pimento is a red pepper in the end, so you don't pick it until it turns red, and they were all rotted. Halfway through their color change, they rotted. Then the rabbits or the squirrels or the raccoon that just got run over this morning. That was gross. Go out to get my mail, and there's a dead raccoon run over in the street. Maybe he was the culprit who was devouring my corn. And if he was, you know, karma, baby, karma. That's all I can say. You eat my corn, somebody's going to run you over with a car. Had a lot of critter problems lately, haven't I? We had the dog incident. That's what I'm calling it, the dog incident that I talked about in the last episode. Now we had raccoon squashing in the front yard. You know, you're just a raccoon and you're wandering along. Do. I'm going to go eat some tomatoes tonight. John's got some wonderful tomatoes in his backyard, and I ate all his corn. So let's go see if we can eat the tomatoes. And on his way across the street, he gets run over. Karma, baby. That's what you get for eating my corn. I was having a hard time deciding, actually, what was eating my corn. Was it a squirrel or a group of squirrels? Was it a rabbit? Was it a raccoon? But one day, all the stalks were down. All of them were down. And all the corn was half eaten. I'm like, man, if you're going to eat my corn, leave some for me and eat the whole thing. That's what Grandma said. Eat the whole thing. Don't eat half of it and move on to something else. That's wasteful. And you don't want to make people mad because that's a big thing today. Can't waste food. So why aren't they going after the raccoons that waste the food? That's what I'm saying. Get mad at us people for wasting food. Get mad at the raccoons. Unbelievable. We've got a lot of stories coming up in the next segment. The third segment, we're going to talk about some internet dealings I'm seeing with the alternative media, which is an interesting subject there. We're going to talk about flying saucers at some point and UFOs, the news media, the Drudge Report, all sorts of things in the coming segments here on this episode of the John Lebang Show. But we're going to take our first time out, get that out of the way. This is one of those floating breaks. We kind of float like we're in the ocean, wandering around. And when we get back, we'll hit little more serious topic. Maybe, I don't know. Hope you're enjoying this edition of the John Lebang Show. Be right back. Hey, Uncle Shady, where are they going? Hey, you, get back here. The John Lebang Show will be right back. Does your house need a paint job, but you don't want to do it? Then call Tom at Quality One Painting. He can handle all of your interior and exterior painting needs. He gives free estimates and senior discounts. Call Tom at Quality One. 313-982-2986. That's 313-982-2986. Quality One Painting.
You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
And it's so much fun. Why you keep talking? Oh, am I not supposed to? No. Oh, back to John. Apparently the big news is Russia carried out a stunning breach of FBI communication system, escalating the spy game on U.S. soil. They broke into the FBI database during the Obama administration. How many times in the Obama administration did the Russians hack into something? Why is it Trump's fault? I'm just wondering. No love for Trump, but like, where is the finger pointing when it comes to this in the Obama administration? So not only did they supposedly hack into the DNC and cause a giant Russian probe that went around Donald Trump for 2.5, 3 years. Never ending stories on that. We don't hear any stories about this. If there was any election fraud, it was during the Obama administration. If the Russians were hacking, it was during the Obama administration. Yet it's all Trump's fault, according to the mainstream media. The collusion, the corruption, all that. Nothing coming down on the Obama administration at all. We had the FBI agents themselves plotting against Donald Trump, all coming out now. The Steele dossier was a fake, a hoax. And all the while, all this growing evidence that the Obama administration was asleep at the wheel. Yet nothing, not a peep out of that mainstream manufactured news garbage out there. The CNNs, the MSNBCs, ABCs, all that junk. New York Times puts out the thing about Kavanaugh this weekend. Where are you on this, New York Times? What kind of reporting are you doing? Dredging up old stuff again. Dredging up old news because they have nothing. They're not doing real reporting. We get hogwash like what was reported out of the New York Times this weekend, but nobody in the mainstream manufactured news wants to talk about the Obama administration and the failures they had in protecting not only the DNC, but supposedly the election and the FBI now. That corrupt FBI. You know, you start wondering if they just didn't, everything was kind of loose on purpose so the Russians could do their thing and it was okay. And if it ever worked against them in the swamp there, they could just blame the Russians. It's like the 9/11 thing. You just, something going on. Oh, crap, something went on. We were kind of busy over here. We had operations going over here, and wow, something happened over here. Wow. It's just, and that is par for the course for what's going on here. You can't trust the FBI. You can't trust the Russians. You can't trust the Obama administration. You obviously can't trust the Trump administration. Trust them at all because they're not, what are we doing here? Shouldn't somebody be going to jail by now for all the wide open, it's in your face information with the coup that was happening inside the FBI and the Justice Department? But no, McCabe's going to walk. Comey's walking. Everybody's walking. Hillary's still out there. There's talk that she's going to try to sneak in at the end. You know, she's just going to lay low, sneak in at the end. They'll really rip off the party then. As if last time ripping off Bernie wasn't enough. Now, all these candidates will put time and money, you know, debates, traveling around the country, blah, 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 and Hillary will walk right in at the end. That's what the talk is. You can hear it. Rumors just talking. Oh, Hillary's going to jump in right at the end. And then it'll automatically go to her, maybe. That's what they're thinking. Even the people in the alternative media are saying that. So there we go. Another good thing. Snowden wants to come home. Oddly enough, especially when all this is going down, Snowden's going to come home. He wants to come home during all this. You ever feel like the wool's been pulled over you know, the rug, and you're about to get the rug pulled out from you at the same time, so you can't see what's really going on, and then you're going to get tripped up? Trump acting like he doesn't even know who Snowden is. You know, it's just a game up there. And I'm finally seeing that in the alternative media, the smart ones, the 2 or 3%ers who actually think a little bit and who actually want good for the country, they're finally catching on that it ain't all rosy there on the Donald Trump side. He may have been the better option than Hillary because it didn't go so fast into the gutter. Trump walks the country slower to the gutter than Hillary walked it. And it's amazing that all the hardcore Democrats out there want to just push it along even further. Just push it right off the cliff. Gone. That being said, you know, mainstream media doesn't talk about that, but they'll talk about other things that, well, keep you occupied. The sun's a good one for that. In fact, we should really think about starting a Scumbag Hall of Fame wing for just the media outlets, because I could name a dozen that would be the inaugural members of it. But we have the Sun, and they're posting an article, Space Invaders, a mystery object from deep space heading towards Earth. Our solar system has been pictured for the first time. Do you know what the object is? Do you know what the object is? Because they're making it sound like UFOs coming. No. Astronomers first spotted the comet, around 2 weeks ago. But the headline is Mystery Object from Deep Space Heading Towards Our Solar System. Because they know the average person and below average person will see that headline and go, E.T.'s coming! Oh, E.T.'s coming! Hey, everybody, did you hear E.T.'s coming here? That's right. He's coming, and he's coming from a solar system way over there where, I don't know, I just read it. And so I read it on the inner tubes. That's got to be real, especially if they're not trying to deceive me or nothing. Also in the Sun, because, you know, they're such a credible news outlet. NASA is reportedly investigating videos showing what appears to be a silver flying saucer darting through a deadly storm. You play the video and you can tell it's a freaking balloon getting blown around in a really bad windstorm, thunderstorm. Yeah. But to the Sun, it's a flying saucer because they know that's going to bring you into click. Click, click. If you even click it. Because you might just read the headline and go, did you hear about the flying saucer? It was flying around in that storm. Crazy stuff. Flying around in that storm, yeah. And I found these on the Drudge Report, which unbelievably, the Drudge Report has become a tabloid news outlet. Matt, what is going on over there? You used to be reputable, but now you're posting all kinds of garbage. Either you're just going for the headline, because that's what you got to do. You know, you got to get those people to read the headlines, because that's all they care about. You know, they don't care about them headlines. Or you're just posting fake news just to get hits on your site. You know, to keep it interesting. You can't talk just politics and those sort of things. You can only talk about Trump so much, right? Of course, we've got the fire, the bombing, and the drone bombings in Saudi Arabia. Right after Bolton leaves, Roy Potter brought that up. He's on YouTube if you're not familiar with him. But yeah, he's one of those people that I've slowly seen turn away from Trump. There's been a lot of them. In fact, I've had to actually... I used to be subscribed to a lot of these alternative media guys on YouTube, and I've slowly had to unsubscribe most of them because they wouldn't get it. They were bought into some of those weird concepts. We might talk about that later. The alternative media and what they actually buy into. Because it's not a cohesive bunch at all. Not a cohesive bunch, and they're all over the board. But Matt Drudge has totally turned his site into a tabloid site. Mainstream news sources are posting bogus or fake news articles, garbage, with headlines that you have to actually get into the story to find out that it's not real. That what their headline was a bunch of BS. And this is what we have to deal with as a small-time 2%er, whatever you want to call us, in the main or in the alternative media, trying to get this crap right. And I'm long past the days of reading you breaking news, because that ends up never being right, and it always changes. And you can't blame the mainstream media because the information is coming in just as fast as they're trying to get it out. And they make a lot of mistakes they shouldn't make, but because it's all about advertising and being the first in that field, they make a lot of mistakes. I'm not going to do that. I'm not jumping. I'm going to be very cautious about what I talk about, because you don't know when it first happens. Like the Las Vegas thing, there was all kinds of things all over the place, and it took a little while to figure out what exactly happened and who was not telling the exact truth and how the reporting was slanted. But what happens when you run out of news sources that you can trust? You obviously cannot trust anything on the so-called left side of the news pantheon there. The news, I don't know what you want to call it. Circus, that's a good one. And now, people like Drudge Report, Fox News. Unfortunately, Rush Limbaugh, who's cheering on what's happening instead of being himself at his best and being critical. Thank goodness there's still Michael Savage, who has the alternative voice that's unpopular. We run out of news sources, then what do? How do we know any of the information we're given is accurate or in full? We don't. And that's how they're going to get most of us, is slowly, gradually. They will infect all the news sources. And fake news on all sides will be the news that is prescribed to. Alternate news that is changed to give you a perception of what they want you to think, of what they want you to feel is the truth. Hey, 1984 all over again. Except this time it's for real. It's not in a movie or a book. We're living it. We've got to take time out. We went, we went a little long this time, folks. More on the flip side. Stay tuned, all right?
Don't move a muscle. The John Lebang Show will be right back.
With lots of fun and excitement, yes! Are you in need of commercial or residential window cleaning? Do you need your office cleaned? Maybe custodial work? How about some gutter cleaning? If you do, then call Pane in the Glass for a beautiful shine that's crystal clear. Call Pane and the Glass. You can find them on Facebook at Pane and the Glass.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
If you want to contact the John Lebang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John Lebang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John Lebang Show. Banger. Now here's John.
You know, Mr. Cat Eye, he's on YouTube, recently brought up the Smith-Mundt Act. And although I covered it back in 2012, you know, it's been something that's kind of been put on the back burner. I know of this stuff. The people who have been tuned into the John Lebang Show hopefully still remember this stuff. But in 2012, to catch the people up who haven't been here that long or who don't really know this, the Obama administration, along with Congress, repealed the Smith-Mundt Act. Now you're like, well, what's that? Well, that act made it illegal to use propaganda. Well, in the repeal of that, it in reality means it allows the government and news media to use propaganda against whoever they feel needs a little manipulation. So every news story, political movement, or social commentary has to be judged with that knowledge. Every single piece of information has to be digested with scrutiny. You know, you can't believe anything. So you got to believe absolutely nothing unless you can prove otherwise. To accept anything on its face these days is foolish. William Cooper coined the term, the age of deception, and that's what we're in. Well, the age of deception was made legal during the Obama administration in 2012. Barry's tenure in the White House was so anti-freedom, if you don't remember, if you've forgotten, that the powers that be had to be aware that there would be some pushback. And there was. The people tried their best to stop the bleeding through the election box. 2012, 2014, 2016 all showed clear the shift from hope and change to stop and save. That's where Make America Great Again came from. And this all culminated in the election of Donald Trump. The outsider of outsiders. But was he? You see, when the people that run the world make plans, they have plan B, plan C, plan D. They're always planning and preparing for things. They're not like us little people. I mean, some of us little people are really good preppers. The great prepper channels on YouTube, if you haven't checked that sort of stuff out. But for the most part, the average sheeple is not a planner. They're day to day. That's why they live week to week. They got to go to a job to give them some money so they can make it another week or two. But when they make plans to change a society or a culture, and they implement those plans and they put the people in place to make that happen, they know there's going to be pushbacks. They're the masters of the Hegelian dialectic. They're the masters of it. And they knew that the Obama administration would do a lot of things that would anger a core of people, the people who at least think they're for freedom. So when the Obama administration's tenure ran out and they had to move on, and we had the big Hillary versus Donald Trump, they knew there would be opposition to Hillary because Hillary would be 4 more years of Obama. And there were a lot of people that were electing Republicans from 2012 on. People woke up then. Oh my God, that hope and change is not what we thought it would be. So when these elitists up there have these plans in place and they go, okay, we know we're going to get pushback. They go, what's the best way to placate the opposition? Give them something that appears to be their savior. Obama, in many ways, was the savior of the left at the time. What was it? Jamie Foxx was praising him like he was Jesus. Do you remember the rallies? Yes, we can. Well, how is Make America Great Again any different? All you're doing is going after a different side of things. It's all marketing towards a specific group. And that group doesn't like the group that was there before. So when the elite are planning their little dastardly deeds, they're engaging in conspiracy talk at the Bilderberg Group, G7, wherever these people meet. They make plans and they go, okay, we're going to get pushed back here. Why don't we offer them something? Because they're businessmen and they know people will buy into things. As long as it's marketed properly, they will buy into something wholeheartedly. So then you look at Trump and you realize that he's got a past about him that actually echoes some elitist behavior and idealism. Well, if you're the elite and you want a backup plan or you want to placate the people, because Hillary would have took us right down the road really quick. Right down the road, it would have been over. The people that were opposed to the Obama administration were getting really angry. They were buying guns in record numbers and then ammo in record numbers. And as soon as they could get rid of the Congress that was controlling the purse strings for Obama, they put it right back into the Republicans' hands, especially after Obamacare. You weren't offered very much, because if Donald Trump was offered to us in 2012, he might have won. He might have beat Obama. It would have been a hell of a lot closer than that Romney guy, but we got him instead. Trump not coming in. First election, after Obama has to leave office, we don't get Biden, who's now running. Biden would have been the safe pick for the Democrats. he had the Obama administration behind him, it would have been a public, here we go, we're going to continue on. But they didn't go that way. Bernie was gaining steam, and they took him out. So Hillary, the woman who would have massive opposition to her, automatic opposition to her, she was the biggest scumbag in all political history. Yet, offering her from the Democrat side allowed Donald Trump to win. And when you think about these things and when you take all this into account, you start to realize that maybe we've all been had from the beginning. Maybe we have been. I told everybody after the elections we had to keep Trump's feet to the fire. The real work had begun. The election was only the first steps. Yet after the election, everybody that really was on board with Trump, they love going to the rallies, but they were just, okay, go ahead, Donald, do what you got to do. We're going to go over here, make some money. Thanks, Donald, we're going to make some money. You go do what you got to do. And that's what happened. People made some money these past few years. Let Donald do whatever he did. Not holding his feet to the fire, not keeping him in line, and look what's happened. We got to take a quick break, folks. More on the flip side.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
Because the John Lebang Show will be right back.
After this.
That's guaranteed. Yes.
At Absolute Skin and Body Care, they only use the best laser equipment in the industry so that you receive the best results possible. They'll explain all the procedures in detail and answer all of your questions. Absolute Skin and Body Care. If you're looking for skin rejuvenation, laser lipo, or laser hair removal, call Absolute Skin and Body Care. They're located at 37625 Ann Arbor Road, Suite 105 in Livonia, Michigan. Absolute Skin and Body Care. Their office phone numbers are 248-305-3000. That's 248-305-3000. Absolute Skin and Body Care.
You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
And it's so much fun. Why you keep talking? Oh, am I not supposed to? No. Oh, back to John.
You know what? It's absolutely fascinating to watch the alternative media finally coming around to the idea that Donald Trump might not be exactly who he said he was, or who they thought he was, for that matter. The recent floating of the red flag laws, the absolute intention of him expanding the surveillance state. We start wondering in the alternative community, because I'm in there, although I didn't go as far into Donald Trump's camp as many others. I thought he was the better choice between him and Hillary. There were many reasons for that, including that it would just slow down the progress of the trouble that was coming in the country, because Hillary would have expedited that. And so that's why I thought Trump was the better choice. I remember during the 2016 campaign when I was doing my Banger 2016 parody presidential run, you could call it. And I did these little commercials, just like little hit pieces like the real politicians do on each other. And in that hit piece, I had Donald Trump explain in his own words that he wants nationalized health care, and he has the belief system of a Democrat. He was still the better choice between Hillary and him. But many people ignored his past. Many people went ahead and said, okay, he was the best choice. And he won the electoral vote. And then slowly things started dropping. A few things happened early. It looked promising. Even people started businesses, I remember. People started businesses as Trump was entering office because they felt good about the economy and they felt good about what Trump was going to do for the country. He signed a lot of executive orders early on, mostly eliminating old Obama executive orders. Probably things that weren't working anyway, so wiped them off the table, which I was not entirely for. Not that I wanted the Obama executive orders to stand, because I didn't, but I don't like the notion of using the executive order as law, making rules with the executive order. But, Trump was president. He was getting rid of executive orders that were not good for the country. So I just wrote little notes on that. Okay, he's using executive orders, which I spoke about back then, that I didn't like it. But at least he's getting rid of Obama executive orders. So it's a wash. He had the Republican House, the Republican Senate, promises of major tax cut, Obamacare being repealed, border wall. 2 years with everybody at his disposal to make it all work, and it didn't work. John McCain stepped in at one point on the Obamacare. But regardless of how it didn't happen, the repeal of Obamacare didn't happen. The border wall, to this day, is still up in the air. The tax breaks that we got, from my point of view, where my pocketbook is concerned, I didn't see an increase. Not one smidgen. Absolutely no increase at all. Even though we were promised in that State of the Union address right after all that happened that it was coming. It was coming. This next paycheck, you're going to start seeing. Well, I didn't see it. And I talked about many different things that the Trump administration did in that 2.5 year span that we've been dealing with him as president. We know last year, 2018, Democrats won the House of Representatives. Okay. We have a threat of a government shutdown. He's going to declare a national emergency. They pass an omnibus bill, far out exceeding the prior budgets. Again, spending. You can blame it on the Democrats then, because the Republicans didn't win. So they didn't have anything to do with that. In fact, they didn't have much to do when they were running everything. They were really good opposition there at the end of Obama, but then when they had full control of everything, even with Trump, the man who gets things done, the deal maker, we ended up with nothing. So I'm watching the alternative media finally starting to put all this together, even though if you've been a steady listener of the John Lebang Show or watched my YouTube videos or just come to the website, whichever way you're getting the information, You'd been ahead of the game because you knew this stuff as it happened a lot of times. People are just coming around to when Trump was talking about taking the guns from people if they think they have a mental issue. Take them first, then we'll sort it out later. That's a paraphrase, but it's close enough to get the gist of it. People are just now coming around to that. They're just now coming around that Obamacare's still there. The one thing the Republican House, Senate, and presidency was elected to do, and they couldn't get it done. And I'm waiting for the day when the Democrats put it back, the mandate that is, into the budget. Because that could happen during whatever time period it takes that the Democrats are in charge of the House, and will they win the Senate in 2020? We don't know. Don't put it past them, especially with so many Republicans leaving again. They get power, and what do? They want to leave as soon as they get power. And I'm speaking not as a individual, but as a collective organization, the Republican Party. So many members are leaving. It's interesting. So I watched the alternative media as they are coming around to this. And I wonder why they would have jumped on the bandwagon in the first place. But they're the group of people, because it's such a wide collection of people in the alternative media. A lot of them jump on every little concept, belief, conspiracy theory there is. And a lot of times, those things have no validity to them, or very little validity. But every little conspiracy theory, secret society, controlling something, New World Order, everything like that. I mean, they've got the Mandela effect and the flat earth theory. There's all these concepts. And I'm not saying any of them are correct or they're not correct. They exist or they don't exist. I'm saying as a collective in the alternative media, they all tend to jump on all these things right away. Woo! People jump to this one and UFO, everything. Most of that stuff doesn't have the evidence backing it to support it. At least not the evidence that they know about. Now, I know a lot of alternative media people that are very well educated. They've done their research. And then you have the ones who just believe. And they talk about how they've researched, but the way they've researched is read everything that affirms their belief system. So, if they think that the New World Order is taking over the world and Donald Trump was here to save them, they jumped on. Because Donald Trump was an outsider. But was he really? Was he really an outsider? He hung around with the Clintons, didn't he? He was part of the rich cabal. Maybe a different sect of the cabal, a different wing of the cabal, but he always was hanging around with those people. He didn't hang around with people like myself or people who voted for him until he had to get their votes. So now, as I'm just outwardly thinking here. Now there's talk that Hillary is going to enter the race at the end, and where did that come up with? Where did that originate, that idea? Who came up with that idea? You see, sometimes ideas, concepts, people are offered to you, even though you don't know they're offered to you, as a savior, as an idea, as a possible outcome. Just to get you focused on this and focused on that, because we've got to keep everybody busy. In some ways, that's what the internet is for, to keep you busy. Sure, it brings information, some of it good, most of it not so good. As with everything, whether it be people, information, companies, 2 to 5, 10% of them at best are reliable, trustworthy, and you can count on them. The rest are just part of it all. And they go where the wind blows. And if the wind blows hard enough, it'll blow them that way, because they're just sheets in the wind. And that's what I'm seeing with the alternative media. They've jumped on so many things that when reality is starting to hit them, many of them are starting to get into, I don't want to call it panic. They're almost like confused, like, what happened? How could this have happened? How did we let this get past us? And that's because many of them believe in anything that's presented to them that is opposed to the traditional way of thinking. Well, we've got to get on out of here. Before I do, I'd like to remind you about the Ronathon campaign. You can go to our website and purchase a copy of J. Lebang, The Writ, and 50% of those proceeds will go to help our wounded soldiers. Also, we're having a contest on our Facebook page. Go there and you can join in the Absolute Skin and Body Care contest, where you can win a $100 gift certificate for Absolute Skin and Body Care in Livonia, Michigan. I'd like to thank all of our affiliate stations for carrying the John Lebang Show. Don't forget, you can go to the website www.jlebang.com and find out all kinds of information there about what's going on, the Music Hour, the Banger Music Awards, new logo coming out soon. And with that being said, I want to thank you for tuning in and listening, spending an hour of your time with me. And until the vibrations of my vocal cords reach your ears again, I'm John Lebang, thanking you, and we'll see you next time from the Banger Studios. Woo!
Minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Tune in again next week. Same time, same space, same station.
Resistance is futile.
As I sit here in my chair, a little different than normal, a little more mellow, as we just discuss some things that I have observed